Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to Creative Emotions, where you're going to get this motivation, information, transparency, these good vibes, some empowerment. Listen, thank you so much for joining me. I have Mr. Chef Wilson in the building with me. Hello, Chef.
Hello. And, you also get an opportunity to get some of this over here. There's going to be some good energy. I don't know if I got them dance moves like Q, but you know.
Y'all know when that song come on, we just gotta hit it. You gotta be right there.
Yes.
Each and every Wednesday at 6 p.m., I will be bringing something, some motivation, some information, transparency. Transparency is just things that happen in life, right? Nobody's perfect. We're all on this learning canvas, and we're all just trying to get it right. But you know, some things may work for you. Some things may work for me. I'm into sharing the things that work for me. I'm into sharing things that didn't work for me, because we all learn from everything. This is a live show. You can call in at 313-266-2811. I hope everyone had a great holiday. Did you have a good holiday?
My holiday was amazing. And I'm still trying to get rid of Thanksgiving food.
I threw it away. I said, forget it. Forgive me, Lord. You know, you got to be like, oh, forgive me.
Oh, my
Throwing all
God.
this food away. We had a haul, and I just didn't want to, you know, get rid of it. So I volunteered to take all the leftovers, and it was a lot. So we did eat on it. My kids was like, all right, nah, enough already. Enough.
They had a traditional food?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everybody, it was like a potluck. Everybody brought something, and it was really good fellowship. I commend my elders because my cousins, we got together and we said we wanted to, make sure we get that from them before, before things, everybody getting older, we all getting graceful, greater. And so I was like, we need to do a little bit more. So we were doing what they had been doing all these years. We come in, we eat, and we go home. Nah, we had to put the food up. We had to, put the food out, clean up, like all that. I was tired. I ain't even see nobody for real.
So I got this question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So did someone respect the mac and cheese?
Yeah, somebody respected the mac and cheese.
Okay.
We had a few of them. We had a few.
Okay. All right.
We had a
Keep
few.
it safe.
But although everybody don't celebrate the holiday, it's definitely a time to be with family. So I want to let you guys know Friday, December 2nd is Poetry and Conversation, 8 p.m. to 11, 21573 Grand River. It is a $10 cover, and this week feature is going to be Girl Boy. She's going to come and bring the fire.
All right.
Again, it is open mic and it is conversation. Really grown up environment, conversation, real good vibes. So if you can, make it out this Friday, 8 p.m. To 11, 21573 Grand River.
And I would have to say it's real grown up. So the conversation is always mature.
Yes.
A lot of transparency, which is needed.
It is.
So, yeah, a lot of laughter, too. We do a lot of laughter.
Yeah, a lot of laughing, a lot of just being,
Right.
It's enough of just acting like you got it all together and you just understand everything. We don't.
Don't people.
And it's okay. It's okay. We don't understand everything.
No.
I want to understand, man. I want to understand, how you think, how we can do things better, all of that. I'm definitely not opposed to it. So I'm glad that people put questions in that, get people minds moving.
Always.
So today's show is no competition. No competition. And we are coming from a couple of different angles this evening. Again, make sure you go ahead and share this with your friends. If you're just watching, like and subscribe, share. We're talking about competition, no competition. And the different times, that people do compete. Now, there is a such thing as healthy competition when it comes to basketball, football, soccer, the Olympics, track, things like that. That's normal competition. Everybody's trying to run a race, win the race, whatever. But when it comes to competing with each other in these different arenas we're going to talk about, this is something that we need to bring to the forefront. Nobody should be in competition with anybody.
At all.
At all. I don't care what the situation is, unless, again, it's those arenas. When you're in competition, you take away from your authenticity. You take away from who you are because you're trying to be like somebody else. It's no reason to do that. God only made one you, and he made you for a reason. And so don't look at anybody else's life and try to duplicate that. Go with your flow and do your thing.
Absolutely. And before you get too far away, you've mentioned athletes, right? Mm-hmm. So no one ever does it by themselves because they always have a team behind them. Okay, and I thought about that today. Even in a boxing match, you're in the ring by yourself taking the blows, but you still have a team behind you. Yeah. Right? So when the one up front wins, they all win. Yeah, right? That's true. They all win. So no one, and I want you guys to get this, when you're competing, you always have a team behind you, right? It may not just be your season to be up front. You may have to be part of the team in the season. Yeah. All right? So I'm going to leave that there because I feel like you have. Yeah, and I thought about that a lot, you know. So I'm gonna let you go before I get
you're good. In these arenas, competition is expected. Mm-hmm. Everyone is trying to be first place. Like I said, that's normal. Mm-hmm. So, that's good. But what about life? What about women and men competing? I feel like it's out of place. And there are roles for a reason. Men and women competing over all kinds of situations, from who make the most money, who's the better cook, who has the better job, who's a better athlete. I posted a meme earlier, and it stated, our generation is becoming so busy trying to prove that women can do what men do that women are losing their uniqueness. Women weren't created to do everything a man can do. Women were created to do everything a man can't do. And this is not to be sexist. This is like real talk. Like, we are, missing it in a sense when it comes to, like, oh, I got it. Some of the women that are plagued with this. I'm trying to.
Okay, no, let's approach this thing, because I thought about what you just said about how men were built for certain things and women were also, right? And I thought about this. I said, well, wow. I said, pretty much in everything in life, you have to stay in your lane, right? Yeah. You can be running track. You get out of your lane, you get disqualified. Right? That is true. It's a reason why you drive down the street and they have lanes marked.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. You get off in another person's lane, then it's a havoc. It's wreck.
Yep. Even when you race cars, you have to stay in your lane. You come out of your lane, you disqualify. Right? Yeah. So sometimes that's what happens with a lot of our relationships. You just get disqualified, right at that moment. So when you talked about a couple minutes about like women trying to do everything, or it seemed to be accomplish things that men have accomplished, and some things you very well could, but some things you're just not built for, right? Yeah. And that's where the damage comes in.
That is true.
Right? Yeah. So staying in your lane, I have to stay in my lane with certain things, right? When it comes to raising children, women will come in with the nurturing part, right? You're natural with that. Right. So I'll let that be, and I'll stay in my lane with that part, right? So that is very, very important. I'm not trying to do what a woman's trying to do, and I'm not trying to compete with a woman. Right. Because at the end of the day, we're a team. I just want to win together.
That's how it's supposed to be.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's win this thing together.
That's exactly how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, go ahead, Q. But
this is not saying like one is better than the other. But I do believe there is a difference, and we shouldn't be trying to be like one another. Like, I think I was forced into that survival mode, that independent woman. Again, I think we spoke about this before. I feel like society has set us up to be these independent women. We have literally been groomed to be this independent woman, but it comes with a price, because we have definitely, tore some things up, both men and women, but women in particular, with just our aggressiveness, our mouth, just taking away the softness, I felt like I was hard in the mug. I didn't know it until I would talk to people and they'd be doing like this. Like when I'm talking to them, like,
whoa, let's slow down, man. So do you believe that the internal pep talk that women gave themselves came out? Because I can see you being put in a position where you thought it was going to be to help, but then it ended up being you.
Yeah.
But that internal pep talk came out, right? So if you get what I'm saying, like,
yeah, I do.
Because I do it all the time, like, Fred, you got this, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think internally it came out and we start hearing stuff like strong women, strong black women. And it just came out when it probably we should have stayed that internal pep talk.
Yeah, but I feel like that was our G-moms, our big moms, our grandmoms. They were it. They didn't have to talk about it.
No, they just
The difference with this generation is everybody got to talk about everything. Like I'm a black man. It's like, okay, we see that you black. I'm grown. Okay, we see you may not act like it, but we see that you grown. Or I'm real. I hate when people say that. Like I'm just some stuff you just don't have to say. You just be it.
Thank you.
And so when we're operating in this strong energy, we're just doing it. We're operating in it. I think the issue came when we started to confess it over and over and over and over. I'm a strong black woman and this and that, and they're calling yourself names, and now they making songs, and it's just like it happened that way. Again, I feel like women have been operating in that strong energy for a long time. It just wasn't talked about.
Yeah, and I want to get back to Big Mamas. Big Mamas didn't scream that. What was loud and clear for them is when the children walked in the room and they were clean, fresh haircuts.
Yeah.
The hair was done, right? When you came to the homes, and the homes were clean, right? It was food on the table.
Yeah.
That was them shouting out. They didn't have to say it. You've seen it, right? You seen it, and that's when they start saying the matriarchs, that's Big Mama, she got it. She didn't talk about it. She just sat back in that chair, be like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And you were proud when your kids walked in. Yes.
Some things you don't have to talk about.
You just
and this is a generation you got to scream to the rooftop. Everything that you about to do. Every little single thing. And then if you don't, you disappoint yourself ultimately. And then you hard on yourself.
Absolutely.
Again, we're talking about no competition and what that looks like. No competition. When we're talking about friends, we're talking about parenting, we're talking about men and women relationships, partner relationships. There should be no competition. There should be individuality in everything that we do. Like, I can't see myself trying to operate in somebody else's flow. That's taken away from me.
Yes, it is.
They living their life, and I'm trying to. That's why it irritates me when I see my kids sitting there just scrolling all day, just scrolling. You just watching other people live their life, and what are you doing?
Absolutely.
Have you did anything for yourself today?
Absolutely.
And that's how I be with them. Like, have you written anything down? What do you plan to do in the next 2-3 months? Like, what's going on? Like, I be on their head like that because I want them to be held accountable, but I also let them know there's nobody else in this world like you. We should not be in this much competition, like the one young lady, what's her name? Shaquilla, or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to mess up her name, but Shaquilla. That situation, it has the whole world sitting here feeling some type of way about friends or people that they call friends.
On the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go on a trip, but they're painting this narrative like she was, she was doing her thing, she was successful, she had all this going on. So that paints a narrative of jealousy to me.
Yes.
And to everybody else. Yes. And so automatically we go to what? What is that? Competition. Like, what is the point? You doing it your way, she doing it her way. Like, what in the world could somebody do to make you want to beat them to death? Like, that's a rage that we know not of. Again, that jealousy is a different demon. And that comes from that competition, that competitive spirit on life. Like, how are you going to compare yourself to somebody else's life and the way they doing things? Some people do things with this amount of money, with this amount of help. They got that whole crew behind them. Go, go, go. This person over here ain't got nobody. So that's their launching pad. It's everybody is doing something different. So there is no competition.
Yes, and I agree with you 100%. And when I thought about it today, I said we're always acquiring things, and it's always just to outshine the next person, to outperform the next person, right? For what? For what? Seriously. So when I thought about, we can start with, we got a couple areas to hit today.
Yeah.
So we just start off with men and women. And when I thought about this, I said, okay, competing for what? So what I see a lot of now is competing to be the head.
The head of the household.
Head of the household,
For them
right?
taxes.
So I think a lot of people compete for that position because they believe in, now we get into the word submissive. Right. So if I'm the head, I don't have to submit. That's not what it is, right? So, and if I'm the head, I'm setting standards. So everybody's trying to fight for that position for what they've been supposedly taught, or they lean on their own understanding of this thing, right? So everybody's trying to get somewhere. They're trying to get there first, right? They want to stand out front, right? So if you're together, and we're going to talk about men and women, if you're together, when you're together, like I said earlier, sometimes you have to be a part of the team. You're not out front, but you're still winning.
Right.
You're still winning together at the end of that season. Then the next season, you may be out front, right?
Yeah.
So why are we doing this? A lot of people like validation.
Definitely.
I think they picture themselves giving a commencement speech.
What?
You know,
What do you mean?
I think they just pretty much picture themselves standing out front with the trophy. Yeah, I owe it all to myself. I couldn't have did this. I remember the long nights. I stayed up late.
Wow.
It wasn't easy.
Wow.
And I think they just picture it winning to a level where it's dysfunctional.
Wow.
To a level when it's dysfunctional. So when you got two people,
commencement.
right? And I said earlier, when you're running a race, you have to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
So you got two people competing, right? So someone gets out their lane and you collide, right?
Collide. Ready
Right.
to give it all, throw it in the towel.
Both of you guys wipe out. No one wins the race.
That's crazy.
You understand? And I do watch sports, and one of my favorite is, track and field. And when they're passing the baton,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And the timing has to be just right,
Yep.
right?
Catch it.
You got to catch it,
Yep.
right? Mm-hmm. So the person that starts the race doesn't finish the race. But because they stayed in their lane and
they on the
timing
same
was right,
team.
the whole team won, right? So we have to get this concept here. So, at the end of this journey, even if we were talking about husband and wives, right? You leave a legacy, right? So in seasons in life, you guys are going to have many accomplishments together because you're going to work together. You're not working against one another. So you leave a legacy behind that God can look at and say, well done to both
Right.
of you,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
And that legacy is going to shine through your children and friends and family that you touched, right? So you can be, I always, on previous shows, I said when my dad wasn't around, I always had someone on the block to look at, like the guys bringing in the groceries or
Right.
cutting the grass, right? So you can be that very person, that couple that someone can look at and say, man, they're winning together. No
Yeah.
one's trying to outshine the other.
Everybody got a place.
Right. So why is this so strong today? Partly because of social media. We have platforms like this that are sharing, that are positive. But then we look at social media, and I just see so many people taking selfies. I just see so many people wanting to be out front.
Yeah.
People on vacation saying, basically, I won, I'm here, right? So we get a lot of that from social media, overstimulation about winning, right?
Yeah.
We really do. So we got to back this thing up and say, hey, no one wins anything without the team. Not at all. You can get a football team, people, and follow me on this one. You play together strong, you may roll the bench for a while, right? However, when you go to the Super Bowl, everybody's getting a ring, right? Everybody getting a bonus check, right? Somebody may have been out front for a while.
Right.
So we have to look at this and stop competing against one another.
I think you definitely have to be in that place. Like, it has to be a part of your journey where you're okay with not being out front. you're okay with not starting the conversation. You're okay with not being the one to grab the mic. You're okay with that.
Yeah.
But that comes along with, just understanding who you are. Like where I am. I go to these conferences, and this is what I do naturally. I'm on the mic. I'm in front of the camera. I'm always, saying something, doing something, speaking up for people. This is natural for me. So when I go to these conferences and I see eager people like always asking questions, or they raising their hand, or they like me, I don't then, take that moment to be like, okay, let me take this moment. I'll be like trying to hide, trying not to say nothing. They be like, we want you to do it. We want you to say this. We want you to be that part and all that. I'm just like, no. But it was at one point where I was that one, like, okay, yeah, I'm involved. But I think it has to be in your journey where now you like, yeah, no, I did enough. Go ahead. You next. I start calling on people like, I think you should do that. I think you should do that. And, just put that attention and everything off, on other people. Everybody have their time, and again, it depends on where your heart is and why you're doing what you're doing. Like, there's no competition in podcasting. Everybody has a podcast. They talk about what it is they want to talk about. That don't mean I shouldn't do this because you doing one and I doing one because you doing one, and that's not what this is. Everybody's bringing something different, and being able to respect those differences and not look at it like competition. Like,
absolutely.
No.
And I like what you just said, Q, because I guess you're showing people that I don't always have to be upfront, and showing them that the rotation can be positive.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I like that part.
It doesn't even, so we're going to go to the next one. Competition with friends.
Sometimes you don't even know you're in competition with a friend.
You don't until you
That's
listen.
That's the sad part
unless
about
you
it.
Listening. If you listen, you will know.
And watch how they moving.
If you listen, you would know. Listen to the conversation. The conversations you have. Are they always trying to one-up you? Is it always a one-up? Like, yeah, me and my husband, we're about to go here, and yeah, me and my husband about to go here, and we already been there, but we about to go here, and this and that, and it. You like, okay, weird, but okay. Relationships. You talking to your friend about your relationship. You trying to one-up in a relationship. Yeah, because, Johnny did that for me, too. Yeah, girl, he did that a long time ago. I don't know. Like, he be doing something new now. Like, what? You not in competition. When you dealing with your home. You may clean your house and have your house a certain way, and your friend, she got 3 little ones. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not in competition. You can't be, yeah, my house is clean. Yeah, you thinking that talking about your friend's weaknesses is showing your strengths. It's like, no, that's weak. That's weak, and we should not do that. When you talk about your possessions, again, we're talking about competition with friends. This is a real thing. Listen to your friends. If you on the phone, and every time you turn around, they trying to one up something that you just said. Now, hold on, somebody ain't listening. Like, what is happening here?
So with that friend thing, what you were just saying, and so I really want to get into this. Do you think when people bring this up, it's actually in an area they struggle in?
What you mean, as far as when they talk about whatever?
Like keeping the house clean, right? And they got to bring it up so strongly. Do you think it's just an area they struggle in?
It depends on what side it's coming from. Is it coming from the friend to keep her house clean? Is it coming from that friend whose house is dirty? The thing is, there's no competition.
It's no competition.
We're in different places in our life.
Absolutely.
It is what it is. I remember when I was younger, I had a minivan, and I was always on the go. Honey, you get in there, you might sit on a chicken nugget, and you might grab a fry, like trying to grab your seatbelt. I'm not even playing. But that was my lifestyle. It's just, you know what I'm saying? So me trying to be a certain way because a friend of mine is a certain way, that's, no. You've been to stress yourself out trying to do that.
So basically, you're just talking about sharing the stage, right? And then if you want to get on stage, sometimes just ask questions. If Q is really good with organizing at her home, just pull her aside, say, you know, how do you do it with 3 children? How do you manage this? You know, I think sometimes they just want to ask the question, right? And it can be with pretty much it. I think with competition, I'm just saying, everyone wants to win, right?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with winning. You are winning.
But sometimes you can walk in.
You're winning.
Yeah,
you need to hear this. You're winning.
You're winning because
you on this side of the ground. You got another opportunity to get it right. There is no tomorrow because there's only today. And then tomorrow, it ain't gonna be no tomorrow. It's gonna be today. That's like really, we be thinking about stuff that don't even matter. Competing against your friends, it doesn't make sense. Be a listener.
Yes,
be a good listener sometimes. Yes. Don't always respond. Like, I had to learn that. Like, everybody is not calling to get a whole synopsis or, you know what I'm saying, or get told how to do it. What maybe they just want to talk. Now, if you just too negative, I told you, I shut them down. Like, all right, let me go close my refrigerator real quick. Let me call you right back. Girl, let me tie my shoe up. Let me tie my shoe real quick. I can't take too much, but I'm here for you, you know. But, you know, when you think about your friends, you are not in competition with your friends. If you always trying to one up, you need to really look at yourself. If you the one doing it, check yourself. I remember this one girl asked me, we was saying, just walking through, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's the kids? I started talking about my kids. This lady went to a whole nother situation. And I was like, huh? She was like, oh yeah, I gotta see about this because this and that. Didn't you just ask me about my kids? So now we're not actively listening. This is the issue. That was not an active listening. I didn't ask you to ask me about my kids. She like, how the kids? I'm like, oh, they good, girl. You know, I'm just letting, girl, yeah, because I got to see about, I'm going to ask about Tap because, wait a minute.
So, Lee,
what? You just asked me a question.
So basically, a person, it seems to be trying to lead you in a direction where they can win with, right? And telling their story.
I have no idea. Like, yeah, I hear you, but listen to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because my daughter got all A's and stuff. That's really wild. But when I was just listening to you, and I don't want to get away from it, with friends, if you truly know your purpose in life and your gifts, and you stand in your lane, there's no competition because you know where you're going. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll commend you on a great job that you've done with yourself, your children, your home, your career, and you know, congratulations. But it's no competition because that's where you're at. This is my gifts and my purpose in life. So I believe if more people tap into that, take a little time and meditate on that part of it, you wouldn't be in so much competition in a direction that someone else is going that you weren't even meant to go.
That's true, because everything has a time. I want to give a shout out to everyone who's watching on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, when you chime in. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you share with your family, like and subscribe if you are just joining the channel. Parental competition with co-parenting.
Yeah, I've had to deal with that.
Competitive parenting breeds overcompensating. I got a whole show about that. You guys should watch it. Overcompensating.
Oh yeah.
I think we all do that at some point in our life because we're trying to fill a gap, fill a hole where you know we may feel like it's needed. But children get caught in the middle of two parents attempting to win over their child or children through acts of generosity. That is a problem.
That's a problem.
We may feel, you know, a certain type of way. I haven't seen a divorce that's not messy or that's messed up. I just haven't seen one that's like flowers and golden and you guys are just working it out with no issues. Divorce affects children as well. I know, you know, for me, when I went through my personal situation, it was about me. I definitely thought about my children. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
I did a lot for my children and because of my children. But when I think about the different moves that I made and different things that I did not think about them as much as I should have. And I thought about that. I thought about that when, you know, when different things will happen. And I'm like, dang, I didn't even consider them. Like, oh, dang, we moved like twice. Like I didn't think about those things, but when you think about they come into my house, they go into his house, and we don't want them to feel no type of way. And so we're both, doing our thing or whatever that is. It's like there is a such thing as Disneyland parenting. You can leave out all of that hard stuff, the responsibilities, the discipline, and leaving it to one parent. And so you want to be careful that you are not operating in this parental competition. Co-parenting, it is about the child. It is about having a well-rounded individual that you're raising. And so I want to encourage everybody, unfortunately, if you are going through this where you're separated or, whatever, just be mindful of your children and be mindful that you don't overcompensate, just giving them everything they ask for, or taking them shopping just because you want to look like the good parent, or, giving them everything they ask for just because, you did wrong in the situation, but you don't want it to you don't want it to look, you don't want to feel bad. So now you're overdoing it. So just be careful and be mindful of that when you're dealing with, your children.
Yeah, because I'm just going to be frank about it. When you have children involved in a divorce, you just have to admit it that both of you have lost at that point, because you're not together parenting in the same home, right? So you've lost, all right? So co-parenting with a mature mindset is the next best thing you can do at that point.
Yeah.
You do have some parents who visualize that before or right at the point where their child become an adult, that they're standing up front of their career, thanking their mom or dad for everything, and not really acknowledging the other parent. I've seen
it backfires.
Athletes do that. I thank her. Well, mom was always there for me. Mm-hmm. And I think people get a little delusional and they get into that grander part of it, and they say, that's going to be me. He's going to thank me for everything.
Oh, wow.
So they picture that speech. He got a trophy.
Uh-oh.
And I wouldn't have had this, but my mom, she was there, fixed me the sandwiches,
wow,
woke me up, and they picture that part. And it's only because of the disappointment of maybe the marriage did not work.
Right.
Right. And maybe they didn't have any accountability, or they could have did more. But it's always a disappointment there. Right. So Q is absolutely right. The gifts, the trips are really not what the children need in this part of a divorce. They just need to see you guys get along and co-parent well, all right? Because it's all for the child's development. You don't want to overdo it. Now you're not in the household, so you don't want to strong hand the child because you're not there.
But this situation literally backfires. It backfires when your gifts are no longer good enough. When what you're doing, your child grows up and sees the real. When they see you for who you are, and then you can do nothing. There's nothing that you can do because now they're judging you for who you are. So competition during parenting and co-parenting is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. But one of the hardest things for me is knowing that my children won't always like me, but they're going to respect me.
Absolutely.
They may not always like me, but I tell you one thing, try me, okay? I'm putting these Holy Ghost hands on you. Yeah. They don't like to see that part because I'm always, come on, guys, listen, hey, family meeting, come sit down. Listen, them kids will take advantage, okay? And I be sitting there like, you know what? Then I got to bring out Vaquita. Quita.
No, you're absolutely right on that part. And parenting is, we're not trying to be your friend. Nope. I'm just dad. Right, I'm understanding, right?
Yeah.
No,
real fine line with that.
Because I'm on another level than friend. My conversation is friendly.
Yeah.
Right, but friends get treated different, right? So no. So I agree with you 100% on that.
My mom used to always say that to me. I'm not your friend, Quita.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could never.
No, not at
I'm
all.
like, what you mean? Like, Ma?
Nope.
Now I'm dealing with that with my daughters. I'm like, I ain't your friend. Don't call me girl. You know how everybody like, girl.
I was just about to say that.
Girl. I said, stop calling me girl.
Yeah, we're on
I mean, but you are my girl. You my mama. No.
No.
But now it's like, it make you look mad. I mean, like me. But I understand, Mom. I understand now.
Let me tell you something. I talked to my mom today. My mom is 85 years old, bless her heart. And when I get on the phone with my mom, I'm automatically in son role. It's not like, okay, I'm 55, my mom 85, so I'm just letting loose on Mom. No,
Right.
no.
It's
that's
a
not
respect
happening.
level, yeah.
Right. It's a respect level. However, just to get back to what you were talking about with the parenting,
Yeah.
so I don't know if we want to close that part out.
Yeah.
But I agree 100%. Co-parenting is mainly for the children, and they have to see you co-parent, and there's no competition. At the end of this thing, the prize is when you can sit back, right? The father and the mother look back and look at your child and that smile on your face.
Yeah.
Because you know you poured into that child, right? And then your co-parenting help their mentals out, right?
Right.
Because they could
They're
have
going to
ended
be
up
some decent humans.
absolutely. So we
Jeez.
once again be on the same team so we can win together.
Yes.
Right.
No competition.
That's it. No competition.
No competition in relationships, no competition in co-parenting.
Not
and the
at all.
next one is parents competing with their children. That's a problem. If you can't be happy for your child and you got to one up your kid, now something wrong.
Something's wrong.
That's a little insecurity there. But there are a number of reasons people compete with their children. As they get older, if they see their child is doing good, maybe they compare and they always want to talk about what they had and what they did and, you know, reminisce. And you just like, dang, can I just have my moment? Like, nah, I had that. Oh, yeah, I'm about to get that. And it's like, okay, enough already. But they talk about what they have every time you bring up something new about what you're doing. They bring it up. Like, oh, yeah, you doing that? Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, you know, you like.
With the parent, because I think what they need to realize is times have changed. So let me look at it this way. Mom, it may have took you a little bit longer to get that dinette set, right? Because times were different back then.
Definitely different.
Now your daughter got it in half the time. Well, she's making a little bit more.
Right.
Times have changed, so it's okay.
You get that quad pay. You run a center. You know, all that.
That's going to happen. I've seen it on a level where I've heard moms compete with physical, how they look physically.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Like, I still got it.
Yep, that part right
Like,
there.
Jeez. I think getting older is graceful.
It is.
I mean, that's just my, you know, people like, wait till you get my age. I'm like, I pray I can get your age. Shoot. I want to see my kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And be healthy and wealthy in my mind. So I don't look at, you know, getting older the same, but no competing with your children. That's bootleg.
That's
But isn't
bootleg.
it supposed to be that way? Don't you want your children to do better than you did, or
I was just going to say
be better
that.
than who you are? I mean, I mean, it's no competition, but you would want them to do better. You would want them to, you know, move along a little better than you did.
And I agree. And when I think about that, Q, you're never really competing against anyone but yourself.
That's it.
And and I was just thinking today.
That is it, honey.
And,
Trying to be.
I'm always in competition with myself, so I'm trying to make better decisions that I made prior to or last year, right? I'm always in a state of mind where I'm just competing to do better in all areas of my life.
Like better than I was yesterday.
Yeah, so when I'm doing that,
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention to what anyone else is doing but me. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm really not. So when you think about life, you're never truly in competition with anyone but yourself. Even if you're running a race, right? Now you may beat the other person, but actually you were trying to beat the time you had before.
Yeah.
Right? Now
That's
you may
called
have,
PR, personal record.
personal record. Now you can play basketball. You're just trying to be the score you had at the last game. So you're constantly, if we look at it that way, you're in competition with yourself and not the other, right? And that is, to me, that's the true way to look at it. So if we can look at it that way, we're always respecting the other person, their thought, where they're at in life, and what they're doing, right?
That's true.
So people, please know that you're just in competition to do better in all areas in your life, and not with the other person. They're part of the team, right? So if they're looking at it the same way, like I said, at the end of the day, we're all winning together.
Winning together.
Let's win together.
When you think about competition at work, now there are certain principles at work that you can do that will automatically elevate you because they are natural laws in the land. No matter what you believe and where you come from or nothing like that. If you go early, you leave late, you make yourself an asset.
Yes.
You in there. You are in the room, okay? But trying to outdo your coworker, beat them to a certain task, always comparing your work, always a look at me, look what I did type of person. Yeah, we got to stop that.
That's bad. And let's look at it from the unhealthy part, because I've seen people at work and they've been in competition with one another when they seen someone about to make a mistake, but they didn't help them. So they
didn't say nothing.
Better.
Yeah.
Yes, that part right
just
there.
To make themselves look better. That's that any means necessary that we was talking about last week.
Oh,
that any means, boy.
Any means necessary.
Boy,
right?
had you 1 foot in the gutter.
1 foot in the gutter. And that is a very distorted way to look at life. Any means necessary is horrible. That's when you look at a person as a casualty of war. Oh, well.
Ooh.
You know
not
what I'm
a
saying?
Casualty. Jeez.
Yes, most definitely. We talk, and I heard before how people will step over people to get to the top when it only takes a minute to bend down and help them up.
Wow. You know? 1 second, and you just like, excuse me.
1 second.
Let me grab that.
So at work, I've seen it. Like you said, I've seen it. I've seen people about to make a mistake, but guess what? I stepped in.
Wow.
You know, I stepped in.
Yeah, and then some people may not take your help, but that's a whole nother situation.
It didn't take my shine off of mine because what I do is what I do. And
Period.
I'm unique with it, right?
Period.
My shoe's still shining.
And I'm the same, okay? But competition at church. You know there is competition at church, honey?
Yes.
That's sad. Is that the sad one? That's a sad little song.
I got to tell you this story. Church, I had joined a church. This was probably over 9 years ago. And they had a barbecue cook-off, right? So the guys back there talking mad stuff. I'm just quiet, right? So, they come and they collect. You had to do like chicken wings, some ribs, and a few other dishes. But they had a number on it, not your name. Took it to the judge's table. They got down on it. Of course, it turned out kind of bad because the remarks were made, but they picked mine, right? Oh, and then so the guy standing next to me was like, well, they just let you win because you're the new guy. I said,
huh?
I said, we at church, what? So,
yeah, that don't matter.
Right. So is that healthy competition, or is that competition at church that doesn't have to be?
It should not be. How about that? So let's just go there.
Yep.
It should not be any competition. Okay, that's a cook-off, right?
That's cook-off. Oh, you're talking about the people running up and down the aisleway?
Somebody asked the question, is all competition bad? I said no, not in sports. Because that's a competition. If it's something that's clearly a competition, then no. You know what a competition is.
And I have an answer for
like
that also.
Like a cook-off, you like, shoot, mine's going to be better. Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying? It's supposed to be like a fun, some people be taking stuff too serious, but I'm talking about competition like who give the most.
Absolutely.
Who at the church the most. Who cleaning up. Who doing stuff for the pastor. That type of stuff. That's competition, and it's unhealthy.
I think it's unhealthy when you have a mutual goal that you're trying to reach together. I think it can be unhealthy at that point. And even with competition, you don't have to defraud the next person or cheat. You just have to motivate yourself. That's it. That's just me, right?
Yeah.
So even in competition, you're just motivating yourself. I got to go faster. I got to go faster. You're not trying to trip the person.
Right.
Come on now. Really?
Right.
That's what we doing?
You ain't trying to trip them. Yeah. And
You know
when
what
you
I'm
think
saying?
about life, that's how people doing. They doing people dirty.
It can be in
Just to-
relationships, like I said before, you can be trying to make the story the bestseller, right? Now, in hopes to make the other person look bad, so I end up winning, right? I'm the good guy. No, that's not what we're doing here, people.
Yeah,
Because
it's
at
not.
the end of the day, we talked about integrity. Even with competition, you have to have some integrity. You just
Definitely.
have to. You really have to. I've seen guys at boxing matches, because I like boxing, and even at the end, they hug. And they've been beating one another up.
Beating them down.
Eyes cut, everything. And they can still come together and hug, right?
Because it's a sport.
So maybe that's more of a healthy competition, right?
Yeah, that's healthy. Somebody said, what about politics?
I don't even think, politics is...
Competition?
That's competition and pride, and it's a lot
That's
of
a
other
whole
things.
bunch of
money.
mess.
That's a whole nother recipe right there.
I don't know, sir.
That right there. So when it comes to raising children, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to work, at the end of the day, I'm going to go back to this. We all, when you contribute, and I came up with something. I'm going to stay on course when I'm talking about. I said my next relationship is going to be a potluck relationship.
Potluck.
Yeah,
Everybody brings something.
Everybody brings something to the
What
table.
you got?
Right. You know
What
what,
you
I'm
got?
saying? Don't be coming with
I got
nothing
the
and leaving with a plate, right? So, however, in all the areas...
Empty plate with a fork.
No, I said they come with nothing, but they leaving with a plate.
Oh.
So,
was that a shot?
so anyway...
There you go. There you go.
So, in all the areas that we talked about seriously,
Yeah.
and we can go down the line, but it's going to lead back to, it's this teamwork. And sometimes it's your time to be up front, and then it's time for you to be part of the team. You're part of the camp, right? We always can be up front, getting praise, right? It's just not your season. Some days you may, for 3 months, you may have to back up your wife on her business venture, right? You're in the back, but y'all winning because money coming in the same household.
Right.
And then the next season, you got to back your husband. Right.
And that support go a long way.
And then with co-parenting, you may have to work a bunch of hours.
While the other parent got
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
one parent is taking them to the zoo, to the game, to the practices, right?
Right.
So then after a couple months, you're back in the saddle. So it's
shouldn't be a competition when it's things that need to be done.
it's teamwork.
Yeah.
In the end, we both win and everything. If you at work, it's in my best interest to make sure your quality is up, right? Because my profit sharing check about to be tight.
What?
Because I kept, come on, Doc.
That's the truth. It's the truth. You gonna let me hold something?
You know,
You gonna let me hold
I
something?
got you.
You gotta let me hold something. But don't let unhealthy competition come into your life and wreak havoc. That is definitely what's happening if we do not get a hold of this. Notice I said we, because you have to make sure in all things that you're not operating out of this competitive spirit when it is not even warranted.
Absolutely.
Jealousy, that's a real thin line with being competitive. You have to make sure you're not coveting what someone else has. And that's one thing, when I talked about the church, in the Bible it says do not covet, but then churches always talk about what they have and what they have and what they have, which makes people want what you have. That is coveting. And it shouldn't be. So we got to be careful in all arenas that we are not misleading people, that we are not hurting people on purpose. When you think about the crabs in the bucket. The buckets, what Jay-Z said, crabs don't belong in the bucket. So why are we even talking about it? Because it's something that's not supposed to be happening. Absolutely. We're not supposed to be operating in competition with each other. Men and women, we should not be in competition. We should be loving each other wholeheartedly, intently, and just being yourself. Allow somebody to love who you are, not a representative. Because Absolutely. that part is deceiving in itself. So when you think about competition, how are you moving in that competitive spirit in your life? Is it in a relationship? Is it at work? Is it at church? Is it, at the job? Like, what are you doing to operate in this? And if you are, there is a few things I want to leave with you with our last couple of minutes. Few things that I want to leave with you that you just make sure you're just paying attention to this. Trust God's timing for you. And your timing is not everyone else's timing. So that's something that we have to realize. Trust your timing. Don't look at what somebody else has. Again, I spoke about this earlier in the show, that he may have more money than I have, and we doing the same thing. So he can move a little different than I can move. I can't be in competition with him. I would definitely harm myself, my confidence and everything, because, I will feel like I'm letting myself down. I will feel like a failure. And if you're not strong in your mind, you will start thinking that about yourself. Your mindset, you will come low in your vibrations about everything that you do. So you have to be careful with knowing that you have to trust God's timing. Mm-hmm. The next one is watch for frustration, because you're trying to force something. A lot of times we're forcing relationships. We're forcing jobs that wasn't made for us, but we're trying to chase money when we know that the one thing that we need to do, it may be less money, but it's moving you toward, what God told you should be doing. So you have to be careful with that. Watch out for your frustration. When you you just mad, that goes back to that. Any means necessary. You got to be careful. It's a real thin line. Don't obsess over the need to outdo people. This is a journey. This is not a race. I can't go as fast as you going because I'm not going the same place you're going. We may be doing the same things. We may have similar things that we have in common. We may even be in the same disposition in life. Like, you may have something going on that I have going on too, but that doesn't mean that we're on the same path in our journey. We're two different places. So just being able to respect each other's differences and having those boundaries and making sure we're, checking our motives and our heart when we do things, making sure I'm not in competition with my friend. I'm not in competition with my mom. I'm not in competition with my dad. I'm not in competition with, with my brothers and sisters. I'm not in competition with the people at work. I'm in my own lane. This is a journey. It is not a race. And the last one is chase purpose, not success. I know Chef talk about that all the time. Chase purpose. Chase purpose. Don't live by the any means necessary. It leaves us in a foul place.
Absolutely.
It's foul. It leaves you regretting things. It leaves you wanting to go back and and check some things. Like, why did I do that? What? Well, I hope I hope that you're asking these questions. If you see yourself, in anything that was talked about tonight, make sure you ask yourself that. Are you operating out of this competitive spirit over things that should not even have your energy?
Absolutely.
A lot of things is just taking energy. Don't nobody got time for that.
And then I would like to add, also, sometimes competition can deplete your peace. And Q was just talking about it. Sometimes you have to be happy from where you're at, your gifts, mm-hmm. what God bless you with, right? If you're still on the block, just be happy being on the block. You got a roof over your head.
Yeah.
So what if your friend is living in the suburbs? It's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes competition, like you said, Q, can breed frustration, right? Because you're not happy with your gifts, what God bless you with. So sometimes it can deplete your peace, mm-hmm. right? So learn how to clap for somebody else.
All the time.
Somebody else.
All the time.
Okay? It's okay.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's somebody down the block applauding you. You just didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Right? So competition, we hear a lot about that in the world today. And it's not always healthy. because sometimes you competing in areas you shouldn't be. Your competition can tear down your own home, right?
Yep.
Because it's taking you out of the home, you know?
Running in circles.
Yeah, and I had to learn that, man, sometimes we don't have to work as much as we're working, right? But we're just trying to stay up with our friends, right? Keep up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah.
That mentality will pull you away from your family. Likewise, women also,
Yeah.
right? What are you competing for, right? Because you're destroying one thing trying to build something else.
Wow.
Right?
And missing out.
Yeah, you're missing out on moments, right? And like Q said, you're looking back on it, but you can't get that back now, right? So, Q, I liked everything you said this evening,
Yeah.
right? And let's look at this thing, people. And like Q said, just step back and see if you operate in that energy and ask yourself, why? Is it necessary? Because I'm good.
Definitely got to check yourself. Shout out to everyone who's watching on YouTube.
Thanks for...
Thank you, Martin, for your comments. He said healthy competition, chase purpose, not success. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
He always pull out the key points. I appreciate that.
Yes, purpose pays.
Yes, SNVX say facts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you, continue to join us. But this is a world of continuous improvement. There are no losers. We win. We all win. We all win on our terms. And this is something I want you guys to understand. Goals are different. Mindsets are different. Don't get consumed with unhealthy competition with others, no matter their title or who they are. Who they are in your life. It really doesn't matter. So I want you guys, again, make sure you tune in every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. I will be here bringing motivation, encouragement, transparency, empowerment, bringing these good vibes, all that. Make sure you come on Friday night, 8 p.m. to 11, to my poetry and conversations every other Friday. December 2nd, 8 p.m. to 11, 21573 Grand River. I have a feature, Girl Boy. She's going to be in the building doing her thing. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Make sure you meet me here next week and don't be late, because I'm going to be here, okay? I love you to life, and there is nothing you can do about it. Peace.
Peace.